Well, hello, you beautiful people, and welcome to to Schmoedown in Canada. And this is why I should stop smoking vapes. All right, on today's episode, we got Ryan, Dustin, Ben, and Daniel, or Mabel Dan, as I like to call him. How you boys doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. This is going to be a fun one.
I'm actually doing really good. I had pretty much one hell of an energetic day today, so I'm actually excited to talk about what we have lined up. Honestly,
Yeah, again, thank you, all you fellow folks, for letting this Wisconsinite crash your party. Even though I'm a Wisconsinite, I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan, so I watched them lose in the final seconds of overtime. So I'm doing splendid.
And Dad, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've been on a show together. And pretty long since I've been on a show in general. But I'm kind of switching to the day shift for a little while, so I figured why not jump on the Sunday show when I finally get a chance to. So here I am.
There you go. And say I can't remember last time I've been on a Sunday show. Just ends up I don't have the kiddo today, so might as well. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's start with the week's matches. For people who is their first time watching, this is simple. We are doing the week's matches. So not the pay-per-view that was last Friday. Go check that out. But let's start with Mike versus the Machine. All right, so let's go like this. Ryan, then Dustin, then Ben, then Daniel. Give me your picks on who you thought was going to win.
Well, I said this to Ben on the last Sunday show that we did. I was going for Janine because I picked her as my dark horse to go all the way to the finals. So she was my choice.
Yep, I was all about Mike. Mike's my favorite player. I never bet against him, even though I wouldn't have put money on him. I don't think.
Yeah.
Ben?
Seems to be muted.
Ben, you accidentally got muted.
I'm sorry. I wanted Mike. I had Mike going into this thing.
I kind of fall back and forth.
Really?
I had it was really a pick-em match for me because I love Mike in most divisions, but singles is typically his weakest, and Janine has been on fire this year. So it was kind of like, I really want Mike to win. I want Corruption to win. I want him to advance, but I really couldn't choose a winner in this match. I was rooting for both of them. Janine's our fellow Canuck, so.
That is true. I simply wanted to see Corruption crash and burn, so it was an easy pick for me. I was the Machine all the way. I again, this season didn't change anything. I hate them, and I hope they completely drop the ball the most they could, and someone else wins the title this year. Especially that it might be the last competition style Schmoedown we have, so I wouldn't want to see a back-to-back Corruption win. That would suck, in my opinion. All right, so let's start out with okay. So we know our who we wanted to win. That being said, is there anything that stood out in the matches per se? In that match, I should say, when it came to anything that was surprising or anything that really stood out to you.
I don't know. I mean, it was a pretty standard match. Round one. They both did really well. Although KO only missed two, where the Machine missed something like 3 or 4. What do you guys think about that?
Let's go, Ryan.
Well, obviously the biggest thing that definitely stuck out throughout this entire match was just Mike's jovial attitude. You know, he was going in there because he knew singles was not always going to be his bread and butter, but he came in there just to have fun. And I can see every comment he had after every question. I'm just like, it's either going to be cute or it's going to get annoying. But his character, he danced around it so well to get a smile out of me. So it definitely helped him because every time he answered, it got him the lead after the first round, though. So you can see the the attitude Mike was going in kept him focused in that first round.
Yeah, I completely agree with Ryan. Actually, the one thing I took away from the match, it's going to be not even Mike losing. It's going to be Mike bringing the entertainment value. Sometimes the digital era can make it so you're just watching people answer questions. Mike doesn't allow that, even when it's a camera. And I thought, and then you have Janine to play off of when we all know that they have a great rivalry going on. So my biggest takeaway from the match is this is. Even though I wish obviously it would have been closer because of the TKO and good on Janine for playing so well, but it's fun. I mean, to have somebody bounce off Mike as well as Janine can do, and have Mike just kind of eating up the camera the whole time. Yeah, I can see how Frenchie probably just hates it, but as long as he loses Frenchie, you can watch it all the time, right?
But there's something that irks me so much that whole I am better than holier thou and that freaking like candy, I just want to shove it down his throat, I swear to God. But
that's
hey,
one reason why I like to bet against Mike when it comes to matches. The only time I didn't bet against him this year was when he went against Chandru.
All right.
And yeah, to speak on like what everyone was saying about the rivalry, that's one thing that like my biggest takeaway of the match is that the rivalry gets to continue. Like, Janine winning one makes it not a 3-0 rivalry. That's not a rivalry. Like, now it's the next time they face each other, is she going to even the playing field? She's become an incredibly different competitor from her first matches against Mike, because they were so early in her career. So we get to see them both grow as competitors in the singles division, especially. And I hope we see another match next year that shows it even more.
Can I ask a question? Do you think Mike went into this match maybe underestimating Janine a little bit?
No.
I mean, that is a good question to bring up, honestly, because the fact that every time Mike went, like Dan said, every time Mike went against Janine, he came out on top, and especially with Janine's year, and if you compare Janine and Mike's year, Mike definitely would have more leverage and more. He's played more matches this year, so it would be easy for Mike to maybe overlook him. But I think the one thing that proved to me, I think personally, after his match against Amaru, he realized that if he's in this tournament, he can't look past anybody. And despite his attitude, I'm pretty sure he was not looking past her, because he definitely took notes on seeing how well she did against Marisol and partnering up with Snyder against Shazam. If he had that attitude, then trust me, this whole match would have been completely different.
And I do have one remaining question when it comes to, especially to Mike. Should he just concentrate on one division? Because I understand that, you know, he wants to have all the belts and everything, but that is a long-standing joke that never gonna be accomplished personally, especially with Mike. But should he just stick to what he's really specialized in?
I would say 2, not 3. I wouldn't have him in team chat in the kingdom. I wouldn't have him in singles.
Mm-hmm.
I think
and in fairness, he wasn't supposed to be. Like, if Chance isn't playing Marisol, like, he isn't in the tournament, most likely. I think James White was going to get the shot no matter what, and I think Mike was going to sit out if Chance was in the tournament, let's say. So it was a matter of circumstances this time around. I do feel that is.
Yeah, and I don't think Mike has said it straight out loud, but it sure seems like he's really happy not being in the singles division if he doesn't have to be. I think he doesn't mind being that guy that, you know, come April, May, you know, kind of when the singles matches are just kind of random because they need to figure out where they're going to go. It's throw Mike one, maybe he wins, and maybe he gets another one. Maybe he gets on the title path, but if he doesn't, he can go on and he can team up with Chance if he needs to. He knows he doesn't have to be the bell cow for them, and then he can focus on Inner Geekdom. It sure seems that's the way it's feeling at this moment.
All right, perfect. So let's go on to the next match. I'm gonna go back to corruption for later on because I do have a very important question. But before, let's go on to the second match, which is Press Room versus Danger Zone. All right, so like we just did before, we'll start with Ryan and we'll end with Dan. Who did you get, or like who did you thought was gonna win, and who would you're hoping to win?
This was the most conflicted I ever felt, honestly. I wanted Dan to win because I wanted him to go up against Griffin Newman and with part of King Arthur.
Mhm.
But at the same time, but also I also wanted Perry to move forward too. Like this, two people I really liked. I had no decision until the match aired, and I finally just cinched in. You know what? Danger Zone had many opportunities. Let's give this to the Press Room. I was hoping for a close match, and I definitely got a close match out of this.
Yeah, I know everybody has jumped on the Griffey Nooms wagon as the rookie fandom. I'm on the Horowitz wagon. I've kind of been on it since I watched his first match. I thought he was entertaining, and I think he's fun. And so I was kind of all about Press Room as a great upset match. It sounds bad saying it after the fact, but I went in the whole match thinking Press Room was going to take this. It just, I don't know. I think when Khan and Griffey won, I'm like, I think I would rather see a big turn, a final with two pretty much relatively new teams.
Yeah, I wanted Press Room because we're not dancing quickly. I would love a Shazam versus Press Room match at the Spectacular. That would be maybe the most polite match ever in Schmoedown, and I think that would be really fun to watch.
My thoughts on that match, like I really thought Press Room could do it, but it depended on how well Perry was going to play. I know she's capable of playing very well, so I was hoping the same one that played Ben Bateman in singles was coming into this match to play him again, and she was there. She showed up, and Josh showed that he can have a bad match and he can still be a very good player. So it kind of was just the questions after that, and I do love, like, my favorite thing about this match was just Dan in the second round of just like, yeah, that's the name of a movie. Like he was just like, and I love that in the teams division, just fully trusting in your teammate to navigate a category that they put on the wheel, and like having that trust in his teammate allowed Dan to like sit back and just kind of be that, yeah, that's the name of a movie. I can correct you on a technicality and a wording, but that's it. Like, go ahead. To have that trust is amazing.
And I had Press Room because I forgot if it was one of the Friday shows I did or it was on SOS, but I predicted back in the day when the tournament started that Press Room is going to go to the final. So when that actually is a possibility, it was like, fuck, man, let's go for it. But for me, Danger Zone, it's interesting because I remember the beginning of the year. A lot of people, including myself, we like, oh man, this is a super team. The Dungeon is a super faction. They're gonna dominate. And you know what? This is not exactly the year that we thought the Dungeon renewal was gonna go. With all the superstars they have, it's been a middle, like 500, like good, bad. So and local like the Finstock Exchange, like I'm more impressed with what they did than what Dungeon's doing, and I'm a Dungeon show, right? So it's interesting to see now with Danger Zone, especially. I love that Murrow, and I think he's playing amazing. But me, it's Ben Bateman. I don't know what's going on, but we do know what's going on. But at the same time, this year is not the year he's shining as much and what we were expecting him to go. But at the same time, he's really resilient. So I wouldn't be surprised next year he's going to come back with a bang. But it's definitely not what I expected out of them. And especially this probably is our last match. So.
What's up, Brennan?
Yeah, Brennan.
Well, I mean, look, I actually agree with you there. Dungeon season, they came out firing hot, going on all cylinders. But then after Danger Zone lost to Corruption, we did start to see some of the cracks starting to happen. And I think Kaiser, regardless of the Star Wars tournaments that's happened, I mean, at least the first one, as much as I do like Adam Witt, I just didn't think he was the right pick for the tournament. Adam Witt could have been like in those like Star Wars matches to give points to the dungeon. It's just when it came with tournament season, I felt he had better chances of using John Hoy or Molly Damon, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, look, because in that first round, you're going against Thomas Harper. Whoever you're going to put up against was going to have a big challenge. Witt did a great job. It was just that, and look, I don't want to have anything against Witt. It was just that right now, at least he's now 0-4 in Star Wars division, and it sucks. I wanted him to get like a win this year, and I was hoping because this month they were coming down from tournaments, we would get some random IG or Star Wars matches thrown out here. Honestly.
So does anybody actually think? So everybody on the wagon that Ben and Dan are done next year, or are they going to come back with a completely different thing? You think it's done?
Yeah, I think it's done.
I think it's done.
I mean, I don't know. It feels to me that Dan and Ben do like playing with each other.
Yeah.
It's
I was really expecting something at the end of that match, like screw this, let's go, see you next year. We're coming to crush every single one of you. We don't need a faction. It doesn't matter who we play for. Like it felt like they were going to do it, and I thought that
think
of all the teams to do it, why not have them turn into? I think it's time for a heel Dan Merle. Let's go, and let's have him do it with Ben. And have them just go like, we want to win. I kind of agree with you, Dan.
It would be kind of the most irony situation. I know a few people that would love this fantasy thing. Like if it does happen, if Ben and Dan decide not to join a faction, they become their own thing. And since they are going back to studios, and let's just say a certain competitor who has been on the desk this entire season decides to align himself with a heel Ben and Dan Merle, it's going to be the weirdest. Not the weirdest, but the most surprising new faction.
Now
I'm talking about Andrew Guy. I'm dropping the pretense. I'm talking about Andrew Guy. A team action 2.0.
And Andrew doesn't have to play. He just needs to talk.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a manager.
Now I know, like, how can I say this? I have a question for you guys, okay? Because next year we know that it's not going to be necessarily a sports. There's no rankings per se. It's more going to be the wrestling and a bit like more hard off the setting, like who has the number one contenders and everything. So we are going to see changes in roster. I personally want to see Chance get out of Corruption and have a chance with someone else. Is it possible, or would you want to see a Chance and Dan Merle team? Yes or no?
Should we let Mount Schmoedown take this? Because they were kind of talking to Chance Ellison about this very thing yesterday.
Let's go ahead.
Ryan,
Okay. All right. Well, from the little conversation we had with Chance, he did say that, I mean, he wasn't actually throwing it out there of him leaving Corruption, but he said the possibility is there because of the new restriction of retaining players that Christian has implemented. I mean, when we were talking with Chance regarding like if there was a possibility of him playing against Roca at the Spectacular, he said he would love to play Roca because that's someone he has yet to play one-on-one. So it would really not be that far off for him wanting to team with Dan. Because let's say it, Dan reaches out to Chance and says, "Look, I don't want to play any factions. I just want to play like no faction, no managers, and I would love to have you on my team." I would not put it past Chance to really put that at the top of his list, a team with Dan Merle. I mean, I know he'd love to play him. I mean, he's already played him in teams already, but I think playing him as a team member would be very interesting because I know those two can learn a lot from each other, from their playing styles.
Anyone else think this is a good or bad idea?
I think it would be fascinating. I would want to see it personally.
And yeah, like as they were saying on Mount Schmoedown yesterday, like if you had to leave Corruption for whatever reason, is there a faction that you were looking at? And he said, interestingly enough, the dungeon. Yeah. And so you think if And that could be a storyline too if Danger Zone breaks up and Ben decides that teaming up with Kaiser didn't work as any more than teaming up with Finstock did, so he's out of there as well. So you could see that, and then it does open that spot. And I would love that team because it's two of my all-time favorite players, the one who brought me to the game and my favorite player, Chance Ellison. So it would be a dream come true for me for that team. But I also think it would be very effective.
I think the only thing about me is that I need some longevity in some teams here too. I like the fact, I'm not saying KO and Chance need to stay together forever, but I like the fact that they've been together a while. I really do. Dan has bounced. I mean, Dan and Ben have bounced a few times in the last 2-3 seasons now to different people. I mean, I think in a league where I don't know, maybe they're the good teams to do it too, but I'm hoping that the teams that are there right now stay together for a little while, because right now we have a whole bunch of teams who are 1-2, 2-0, 1-1, and then there's like 3 teams that have a lot of wins. So I'm all about corruption staying together, but I think I agree with all 3 of you that inevitably is coming to an end probably sometime in the next season, because again, we're getting our storylines back. What a better storyline than corruption breaking up? I mean,
Yeah.
there you go. And again, who's going to say no to teaming with Dan? No one.
This is the only elephant in the room that I can see potentially messing with this plan. Is if Kevin Smith comes back, do you really need another IT player on that team?
Well,
Good point.
yeah. The possibilities at the end of this, especially we don't know how exactly teams are getting formed. We'll probably know at Spectacular, just probably going to be a big bombshell, but it's so secretive right now that what's going on, what's the shakeup. I have a feeling the Schmoedown storyline is coming back into all of this and shaking up the whole faction thing. So I really can't wait. That being said, now before we go to Bibbs versus Del Rio, don't forget, you all beautiful people. I see a couple people watching here. If you haven't liked, subscribed, or commented on what we're talking about, drop us a comment, press a like, and definitely subscribe. All right, so let's go on to Bibbs versus Del Rio. Let's shake it up. Let's start with Daniel and end with Ryan. Who are you taking for, my friend?
Wow, this was a tough match too, especially as a corruption fan, because I don't want either of these factions making points. Like, if there was a possibility for both of them to lose this match somehow, that's what I wanted. But I have liked David Del Rio going into this season. He has really shaken up his game and proved that he is a very tough competitor. But I ultimately had Bibbs taking the victory because he is a champion. That's about all I can say about that.
All right, what about you, Ben?
I had Bibbs. I love Bibbs. Bibbs is one of my favorite players. He's so entertaining to watch. Like when he broke into a singing never ending story. That was priceless. I love that. It was a great match, and I loved seeing both of them play.
Del Rio's comeback to him singing though was priceless. That was a good play on Bibbs.
It was great.
All right, Dustin.
Hi, Bibbs. Bibbs is my tournament pick winner from the beginning. So I'm a huge Ben. I agree with you. Bibbs is actually the reason I got in the Schmoedown 6 years ago for his debut match or whenever that was. So I'm always behind Bibbs, but I think Bibbs is probably, for some odd reason, I know everybody's talking about Shazam being good. I don't know if people are noticing that Bibbs is rocking every single match he's playing this season. So I'm scared of how Bibbs went undefeated in this match. So I'm all about Bibbs right now. I think he's finally going to get that monkey off his back in December.
Well, for me, I actually went for Del Rio mainly because I wanted not a change up though, but looking at whoever won, they were going to play the winner between Paige and Griffin Newman, and at that time, I actually wanted to see a fresh change up in matchups. So I'm thinking, oh, Bibbs win. Then I mean, if Bibbs won, then obviously Nooms and Page would have a big obstacle against him after their match. But if Del Rio won, I would have loved to have seen how the conversation would have gone amongst the community, like the pairings. Like that would have been very interesting.
I agree with me, like the shakeup, but for me, like if it was anyone else but Bibbs, I would have been probably Del Rio. But it's for either Bibbs or the kid. I have to take for them automatically. Like they are, in my opinion, one of the greatest, maybe apart from maybe Rachel and Clark Wolf, the best baby faces or the best faces we have in existence of the Schmoedown. So for me, I can never go against Bibbs. Although I'll start off with the match talk. I was surprised on how Del Rio was able to follow. I was expecting a lot more of a distance. Round one, it kind of went like I thought, though. You can see the shake in round one. But the rest of the match, he did a good job. I actually honestly was expecting a TKO or a KO. Did not end up like that.
I was worried. I was terribly worried after when Biggs went. I mean, when Del Rio missed 3 questions, I'm going, oh crap! If Bibbs gets that, then the wide is. I thought it was going to be too wide for him to come back from. But then seeing how he just bounced back in round 2, really doing well with his slice, and then in round 3, getting majority. He got at least 2 in a 3-point question. So I give him a lot of props for Del Rio being able to bounce back. I do. That's why that's one of the reasons why I thought the match would kind of be a little bit like his match against Liz, to where maybe there were some stumbles in round 2, and then it would fall to a 5-pointer to determine the victory.
Yeah, I thought I had that feeling kind of like you, Ryan, that I thought Bibbs was going to fumble this at the end again. I really had that feeling. I was like, because, Del Rio sticking with it, playing so well, and then it comes down towards the end, and we all know Bibbs' woes. And again, even though I had that feeling that Bibbs is playing like the best he's played, which is crazy to say, I think, because he's always playing well, I still had that moment where I went, this is it. Bibbs is going to lose to Del Rio, and that's all people are going to think about all season, is that Bibiani cannot beat Del Rio, and Bibiani can't continue to win by himself. And yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that it didn't happen, because I feel so bad that his narrative is always that type of feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of like he inherited Chance's unlucky streak when it came with the round 3s. But it looks like he has cleared that chip. Honestly, it was just like, he gets to play great in this match. He's able to finish strong. So now I really can't wait to see how after Page and Nooms, how Bibbs will, approach going out against either of them.
And particularly, like, I agree with Dustin. Like, kind of worried about, like, I had confidence in Bibbs, but kind of worried about him anyway, because, like, and the start of the match confirmed that, because I was sitting there and they say William Bibiani, 14 wins, and I was like, yeah, he's amazing. 14 is a lot. Dan just got to 20. And then they say the next thing, which is 10 losses, and I was like, okay, like that kind of is the story of his singles career a little bit, even though he is one of the. And I think it's kind of it kind of played against him that he was so good from the gate that he immediately jumped to that top tier. He's never got a gimme match, like he gets those couple of easy matches sometimes at the beginning of tournaments, but then you look at people he has to play, like Chance Ellison in the first round, and they're not easy matches. So it's just, he just kind of is a victim of his own success.
Here's the thing. In round 1, he went perfect, and he got the bonus question. But in round 2, Del Rio actually did better than Bibbs. So it could have gone either way. It was really exciting to watch for me. This is what makes Schmoedown so fun for me in the trivia aspect to it.
Now, I do have a question before we go into future match talk here. Is this the last we're seeing of Del Rio, or do you think he showed enough this year to be kept in a team? I personally, I'm going maybe he does have something, but I don't think he found the right manager to really bring it up. And I don't know how committed he is because he seems really to like it, but I don't know how much study he really brings into his game. So me, it's a maybe. What about you, Ryan?
I mean, looking at his season, he ends with just 3 wins and 1 loss in this season, adding to his overall of like 4-3. So I mean, maybe looking at statistics wise, it could say maybe he won't make the cut. But honestly, the improvement he made this year, honestly, a great strong comeback. I do think that he has earned a spot to show up next year, if not in a faction, but to play in those free agency, to be a free agent and play in some random matches, because it's obvious David is a working actor, so he can't commit to like a full season. But I'm pretty sure if Christian reached out to him and asked, would you like to play? And David, and from his post interview, he has stated he would love to come back to play for next season. So I personally believe, yes, I would like to see David back.
Right, listen.
Yeah, I'm with Brian. I don't know. I don't think he gets picked up. I think he's missing the X factor that the Schmoedown has. You know, there has to be something there, especially if you are cutting the rosters down so small next year. And again, if the rosters are also fluid next year, like it seems, it just doesn't seem like he fits the mold. But for a manager that's on the bottom, looking to switch things up, there's nothing saying that he's not a guy to throw at the 5th spot on a roster. Put him with a legendary player, and say, let's, this is how we'll use him. I mean, he's good for something like that. But I find it. I'm with you, Frenchie. I think it's a big maybe on that.
It's a big maybe, but you like a secret weapon, like a Den has a rebuild or a Swag has a rebuild, right? So you can always add in a last minute slot, and he would be. I would take him over Lon Harris, to be honest, multiple times.
Yeah.
So that's for me why he's still a maybe. What about you, Ben?
I think we see him, but I think we see him like how we're going to see Kevin Smith. I don't know if we're going to be on a faction, but I could actually see Kevin Smith versus Del Rio in a match together.
Okay.
I think they're equally talented and they're equally knowledgeable. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah. Daniel?
I like that. And to what both of you were just saying, Ben and Dustin, like, Dustin said he doesn't necessarily have the X factor, but what he does have is the Y factor, because you need both of them in the Schmoedown. And he may not be the cutting edge trivia player that Ben Bateman or Dan Murrell are, but he is an entertainment value that the Schmoedown is looking for. Even David Del Rio just kind of came out of nowhere, and even when he wasn't seeing success in his matches, has such a beloved outlook from the fans, because he is just entertaining always. And I think that will bring him back to play like a Kevin Smith or a Stacey Howard in a more entertainment geared event.
And Ben, could you bring back Tim Blue Line's question?
Yeah.
So we'll start with the future talk with this specific question. Do we know how many matches will be allowed next year? I didn't hear anything per se. I heard though there will be changes in the number of factions, so probably a cutback. And I don't think all players or teams are going to be on a faction. We're going to see more of a hybrid of what we have this year, last year, and what we had in the past. I still think there's going to be a Ronin type of system that you will have factions and people are going to fight for to be in a faction. So that's how the system of FCO is going to go into it, that people in the FCO is going to try to be the free agents eventually in the Schmoedown. The Schmoedown free agents are going to try to fight for a spot in the factions. I think that's what's happening, but no confirmation. Have you heard anything on your end, you guys?
No, actually, I've been. I wouldn't say I've been trying to keep my ear in the ground, but I do follow Christian on Twitter, and sometimes and of course, he'll be dropping Schmoedown news more than he does on the Schmoedown actual Twitter. And I've not seen much. He's mainly just been promoting the big thing with the constant rewatches he's been doing with Coy and Winston. and with Steph and with Mike, I haven't seen a lot of Schmoedown news. Like just like recently, I didn't even see a full slate of the November scheduled November matches until just yesterday, and even 5 minutes ago. So I mean, before we even started. So I'm guessing he's keeping it pretty close to the chest. He's probably gonna. I'm assuming he may drop the bomb like a week before Spectacular, or he'll do it during Spectacular.
I think it's coming in spectacular. I think it's going to be his big hook to get everybody in for next season. I think we're getting that.
Yep.
All right.
That is one thing that Christian has teased, is that Spectacular is both the conclusion of this season and the season premiere of next season. So we are supposedly going to get the structure or the premise. We'll probably get the name of the season too. That could be interesting, and that will give us all more of an idea and plenty of speculation during the off season.
Okay, so talking about also like Ryan said, the matches just dropped recently for next week. Ben, I think you have a graph of the Facebook post on what we should expect in the recent matches to come. Could you bring that up, please?
Yeah, 1 second. And here they are.
All right, so the first match, we'll go fast because let's not spend 10 minutes on each match here, but let's at least at a minimum give our picks of the winners, and then if we have time to talk about them after. So we will start with Paige for Bretty versus Griffin Newman. I'm actually going Paige. I love Griffey. I love Mr. Arthur, whatever you want to call him. I'm still not sure sometimes. But I really think for Bretty is an underdog that is taken seriously, but Griffin Newman has more of the prestige, so people are overlooking her. I think she might surprise everyone, and she's the one going against Bibiani. What's your pick, Ryan?
Well, I'm going Paige as well. It's not that I don't think. I mean, look, this has been Griffin Newman's year completely. Yeah. It's been his complete year. I will not be surprised to see his name thrown into the candidates of Player of the Year. But I am pushing. But just like what we had with the Star Wars tournament, and now with the teams tournament, I'm pushing for more women in the finals. So I want Paige to win.
You guys are crazy. Griffey is gonna dominate this. I'm sorry. Paige is a fun story, but let's not get wrapped up in what's actually happening. And Griffey has yet to stumble.
She beat Ben Bateman, bro.
It's not Griffey. As of now, I would put Griffey as a better player. I think Griffin's going on to be something. He has yet to show me that he can't do everything in this league. I'm going to stick with him until he stumbles, and as of now, he hasn't. So I'm sticking with Griffey. But I appreciate you guys for being proud supporters.
What about you, Ben?
It's going to be a nail biter, but I have to say I'm going to go with you first, Ryan. I say Paige. Paige all the way.
I know our co-host Allison would hate us to say that we're not going for Griffin Newman, but
I know.
Hey,
I can feel it from here.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'll be cheering for Griffey Nooms in his team's match, and I'll let him lose this match because.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with all of you?
Yeah.
What is wrong with every one of you?
Again, I'm sitting here looking at the standings, and the usual suspects are farther back than the Finstock Exchange. So let them pick up all the points they want.
Rob, stop taking drugs. Paige is not an FCL competitor, or will she ever be? I think she's proven that she belongs in this league, and she definitely, if a faction doesn't pick her up, they're crazy. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. All right, so let's go on a bit faster this time. Brendan Meyer versus Barbarian. For me, this is a no-brainer. I love Barbarian. He's my boy. But Brendan Meyer, again, anyone else I probably would have taken Barbarian, but Meyer's my boy, so Meyer it is. What about you, Ryan?
Brendan. honestly. Look, I could say I can almost list why I think Barbarian deserved a better season, but Brendan hasn't. Despite he's lost a chance, Brendan has been stepping up his game every time he's on screen. So, and the evidence is there. So I'm going with Brendan.
Yeah, it's going to be Brendan. Brendan and Bibbs and Shazam are pulling the above the line. They're going to be the premier people at Spectacular, and they're going to win everything. So, Brendan.
Yeah, Brendan. He's on fire. Brendan.
So I'll be the one person to take the upset. I'm going with Barbarian.
Obviously.
Yeah. I'm a Finstock Exchange fan for the next month or so because yeah.
Well, and I'm a big supporter for Finstock Exchange, but again, it's Brendan Meyer is such a different level. He's probably on the best teams we've had since the Patriots, and he can hold his own. And as much as I love Barbarian, this is not in the same category personally. For me, Brendan Meyer's an S tier, and Barbarian is an A+ tier. Right, it's so close, but Brendan Meyer usually edges it out.
Oh, come on, Taco. Really?
He just wants to be contrary.
Taco's on my side.
Yeah.
Really, Taco?
Look, anything can happen in that match, but it's just that Brendan has been. But Brendan, I'm just saying, Brendan has improved, stepped up his game like every time he's on screen. Nothing against Barbarian. It was just Brendan showing the more. I'm not saying he's more passionate. He just has the edge. I'd say.
All right. Next.
All right.
We got.
Next, we got this is pretty much only the last one we're gonna talk. Either Dan Murrow versus Janine Kanowski. My question. Whoa, Ben. Okay.
Let's give you standings. That's all.
Sorry.
Okay, that's all good. So right now, where are we at? Dan Murrow. Yeah. Before we talk about Dan Murrow, who you think is gonna win? Janine versus Kanowski. Who do you think is gonna go against Dan Murrow?
We already talked about that match.
So Dan Murrow versus Janine. Sorry, it's been a long day. Do you think Janine has a shot? Is more the question, because a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, Dan Murrow." Janine's been on a run. Ryan, is your support for Janine going over Dan Murrow?
To HE double hockey sticks, yes. I'm going with Janine all the way. Look, I'm not saying I'm not. I have been I put down a Facebook group on one of the master posts that Janine has been playing at a higher level, and while many people don't want to see that, I still think that Janine has it in her. She only missed one question against Marisol. That if she had gotten it, it would have been a sudden death match. She played top form going up against Bibiani and Brendan in a teams match, and despite her performance against Zipper, her match against Mike shows that she's not missed a beat. She learns from her matches, and I do believe she's going to give Dan one hell of a match.
Yeah, fully agree with Ryan on that. I think the way Dan has missed a few random questions this year, I think if Janine's on, she's gonna win this. But I wouldn't put the money on Janine, but I think this is gonna be the best match of the week.
I hate to agree with you guys because I'm a big Dan Miller fan. But yeah, there's something about the way Janine has been playing and something about the way Dan has been playing. I don't know. I think it's going to come to that final 5-point question, but I think Janine beating Dan this week.
I still have to give the edge to Dan. I think he was in top form in the other rounds. He had a bit of a sloppy match against Lon, but I do think that he is still like 3 rounds. It's harder to even judge because there aren't enough questions, but Dan is the best in the game, but I do think I disagree that it'll be the best match of the week because I think that team's tournament final, the pay-per-view, is going to be so good. Like 2 rookie teams up against each other. The winner plays the greatest team of all time, which I do have to say it now, which I feel so bad for my Shire Wolves, but Shazam is so fucking good.
Yeah. I hate being right or agreeing with Taco, but Ben, could you bring Taco's comment on?
Yeah.
What did Taco say?
All right, so Merle got knocked out of team tournament. He's mad, and a mad Dan is a very scary Dan, and I agree. I think he's not happy with his year or his faction's year so far, and if this is his last shot, I think he's giving it all. And I wouldn't want to be Janine, to be honest, in that receiving end. And I think she's gonna not get destroyed, but we're gonna get an optimal version of Dan because he's mad. And maybe a precursor of a heel Dan, right? Okay, let's go on to the standings because a lot of people were like, "Oh, this corruption to lose." They might lose it, guys. Nothing is secure right now. So Ben, can you bring on the standings?
Let me see if I can find them. That's not them, right?
No, that's just the brackets.
Yeah, let me. Yeah.
All right, but during the meantime, then
All right, let me navigate you. You want to click factions?
Yeah.
To the left, just click on factions.
That's it? Yeah.
And then 2021, and then standings.
Thank you.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Now, don't know exactly how updated this is, honestly.
Let me check. It is actually looks like it's off by a point.
On which faction?
Actually,
yeah, it is a little not updated.
Yeah, because Corruption should have lost a point because of Mike's TKO, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The most updated standings, Corruption is at 83. The Mercs are at 82. The Dungeon is at 76. The Finstock Exchange is at 73. The Suspects are at 63. The Den is at 40 and out of it because only Thomas Harper has a chance for points.
Yeah.
And then Swag and the Stars are at 24 and 22.
Yeah.
First of all, Dan, where are you seeing this?
I use MTSS or MTS standings on Twitter. And they after every match they throw up a graphic. Yep. I use them for almost everything when I'm looking for standings.
Well, that's good to know. But so this is good. Like the Dungeon are not second anymore. It's the Quirky Mercs, if I remember, and they're 1 point behind. With the probably the greatest team we've ever seen next to the Patriots to play and maybe defend. This might be Quirky Merc's year. And I'm really, really happy because, again, I prefer having them winning than Corruption back to back. Do you think that we're going to see an upset? Because it was so set in the fans' mind that Corruption is winning back to back. What do you guys think? Let's start with Daniel and move up.
Well, it's interesting. My worst nightmare is Corruption having nobody in the end of the singles tournament and the Quirky Mercs having 2 players in the end of the teams or the singles tournament, as well as someone in the finals of the teams tournament. It's very rough. So again, it feels weird to cheer for the Exchange because they seem to be playing the Mercs in all their next few matches as well. And the thing is, we are 1 point ahead of the Mercs, and we have 2 guaranteed matches at Spectacular. So it will come down to those 2 matches, and it's going to be Robert Parker deciding whether or not, because I have all faith in Marisol. So it's going to come down to Mike Kalinowski versus Robert Parker for essentially the faction championship, and that's going to be pretty entertaining for me.
I wouldn't overlook Shazam. Sorry, that's...
Oh, no, I assume they will get their 10 points, Marisol will get her 10 points, and it'll come down to the 10 points in the IG championship. That's what I mean.
Ben?
Yeah, I have Quirky Mercs winning. I mean, You talk about possible two teams playing against each other at the spectacular if everything goes well. I have to go with the Knicks winning the whole thing this year. And yeah, Bibbs and the kid are just so on fire right now. I don't know how you could doubt them, personally, in my opinion.
Yep, I said it too. I'm the opposite of you, Dan, for being a corruption fan like you. I am less afraid of. I said Bibbs is winning the tournament. I'm afraid if Bibbs wins the tournament, that means he goes up against Marisol. I don't think either team beats Shazam. I think it's. I think I'm more afraid of that main event match with if Bibbs can win it or the kid. To be honest with you, that is, like you said, Dan, the worst nightmare for corruption fans is that the tournament final of the singles tournament is Brendan versus Bibbs, which it can be very, very easily.
Or the team's final at Spectacular is
the team's final. In all honesty, I don't see how Shazam. I'm with Frenchie. I think and you guys. I think they're the best team ever. I don't see them losing to King Arthur or their own team. I don't think it matters that way. So I'm more afraid of Marisol versus Bibbs or Brendan. I think I said it earlier. Unfortunately, I would put money on the Mercs too right now. I think Bibbs and the kid get it the monkey off their backs this year. I think this is it. I think it's going. As much as I would love Marisol and KO to dominate them and the fun-loving fun time that they are, I won't. I just don't feel it. I'm going to go with the Mercs too.
So you really think KO can beat Robert Parker?
He hasn't proven to me in the last two matches why he's any less of a good player than Parker is.
I mean, Parker's also been Parker is hungry. Mike, I'm not saying Mike is not hungry either, but Parker has been robbed on 2 occasions of an opportunity at the Intergeekdom belt, and now that he has it, he is not going to let that go without a fight. So I don't expect Mike to give him a TKO or a KO knockout. This is going to be a simple 10-point match. And regarding who I think I honestly, it's not a secret to Ben, man. I've not had it a secret on every Sunday show. Kayfabe, I'm an anti-corruption show. But objectively looking at it, the Mercs do have the best shot to take that title because we could see a Brendan and Bibbs in the final. If not, Brendan or Bibbs can get to the final earning points along the way, and all corruption has to do is wait till Spectacular to possibly maybe earn 20 points. Until then, the Mercs have 2 opportunities to secure possibly a dominating Spectacular. Like if the press room wins in that team finals, guess what? Win or lose, those Mercs are getting points. Actually, and then Bibbs gets to the finals. The Mercs will either win. They'll win some points getting there. So the only thing that we'd have to be looking at is what faction do we want to see take points away from the Mercs? And right now, a lot of people are kind of wanting Dan Murrow of the Dungeon to go all the way to Spectacular, and so because that's the Dungeon's only hope.
All right, and I'm curious then. Could you just we gotta giving the points?
Okay, just give me 1 second. The Quirky Mercs can actually make 14 points before Spectacular, and then another 20 at Spectacular. So they are definitely in it. Looking at the Dungeon, Dan can make 7 points in the singles tournament, and then if he wins it, and then another 10, which would be 17, which only makes it if the Quirky Mercs and Corruption both lose all their matches somehow, which requires literally the Finstock Exchange to win all of theirs.
Which is still possible. Finstock
Exchange... starting, yes, but it is starting to be just a 2-horse race between those, and the Dungeon and the Exchange get to play spoiler for the rest of this season.
That's
Now,
why I say with Janine and Paige, they are dark horses to take points away from both Finstock and the Dungeon if they come out successful in their matches.
How? Can I ask a question real quick?
yeah, go ahead.
How many points does the usual suspects need to be in contention? Do we
They're
know?
just not. They're not in contention.
Yeah,
At all.
the suspects only have an opportunity for the same 17 points that I was talking about that Dan could get, and that would bring them to a total of 83, or 80, which does not beat 83 or 82, which Corruption and the Mercs are at now.
And if Nikki wins a spectacular, that's like another 10 points, so they'll just have 90.
Yes, I totally forgot about Nikki, but yes, that would give them another 10 and could give them a possibility of 90. Requires Corruption and the Mercs to lose all their matches.
Yeah.
But it's very improbable, but still possible, especially with Nikki, like you said. I still think Parker's going to win. Not going to make a difference for the Den. But yeah, okay. So before we end the stream, I have one very last question. Ben, you can take off the standings if you want. This is concerning next season and a dream team you would love to see. Me personally, there is a dream team that I need my Clark Wolf of Steel's type of a team, and we don't have anything quite the same. So I personally would love to see Marisol McKee with Janine the Machine. What about you, Ryan?
Sorry, I just had a loud ass truck just go by in the background. Actually, I would not hate that dream team of Marisol and Janine because clearly going up against each other, they do show. Janine has improved, like handling like classics and even like legendary classic actors like Robert Redford and Jimmy Stewart. Like she's really capitalizing on that, at least that on that side of Hollywood when it comes with films. I guess for me, for a dream team, I would actually like to see a union of Paulo Yama and Chance, actually. Two family players that went against each other. They've both been in contention for the singles belt. I would like to see them join forces and become probably one of the most, probably a dominant team, because then you really can't look past the knowledge and the energy that they will bring.
What have you done?
Yeah, it's tough. I think Paul is the easy team up with anyone right now. I think I would pick Paul and like Ben Bateman as my dream team, or Paul and like Ethan Irwin. I think right now Paul is the one that's looking for the sidekick to become a champion as a team and like to go to the next step. So I would take Paul as my dream player and try to match him up with almost anyone of an A-level caliber.
All I would not say no to Paul or Chance teaming up with Drew McWeeny though, because that's just me.
Yeah, I'm done with Drew.
Ben, what do you think?
Ben Bateman and the one person who beat Ben Bateman and Paige on our team together.
And their personalities would be interesting seeing them together, picking on other teams. That would be a lot of personality.
I like that, and also I like the Ethan Oyama team up because Oyama only loses to Ethan Irwin, right? We learned that this season. So yeah, if you team him up with Irwin, he'll never lose again. It makes perfect sense. But and also we talked about Dan and Chance earlier, which I do really love that as a dream team, but I would. Ryan stole my answer of Chance Oyama. That's a team I've wanted forever. I would like to see Dan and either Chance or Oyama. And I look at a comparable in Shazam. Dan is that Bibiani figure, been here forever. He has the knowledge, the broad scope, all of that, and then the young shark player, the energetic one. It kind of, and if you could get Dan to go heel, I would love heel Oyama back. But either of those two with Dan Murrell would be an amazing team, I think. You got something for us, Lou?
No, sorry.
What's your dream team?
But like I just said, for me personally, was Marcel McKee and the Machine, because as much as I love the Coyote, I don't know what's happening. I think maybe a shakeup would be good for him. And Marcel McKee is such a top tier level, but something's not working per se with those two. They're not hitting. They're not hitting per se what they should be hitting. So change it up. Have Marceau, have the Machine, have that dynamic again that we haven't had since the Wolves of Steel. We need a dominant female team. That's what's missing personally right now. So definitely create that, Harloff. All right. So before we end, I want to thank you all for showing up. I think this is the most we had in a long time on a Sunday show. So thank you everyone to actually making it. Before we go, do not miss out on yesterday Mount Schmoedown. Ryan, Ben, could you talk maybe 30 seconds of what happened yesterday, my friends?
Yesterday on Mount Schmoedown, myself, Ben, and our new co-host Allison, we had a great discussion with Chance Ellison as we wanted to pick his brain regarding his personal experiences in the Schmoedown, his certain feelings on certain matches, but also where would he see his future, also like where we would like to see his future going forward. But mainly, we just want to do a great discussion of his career overall and how he felt. And honestly, I definitely enjoyed our conversation because it's clear to me that he is proud of the career he's had, and I've said this to him, he is ingrained into so many historical moments in the Schmoedown to where even new fans are going to look at as Chance as one of the old guard now because of how many moments he has been a part of.
All right. And Dustin, apparently you have a wrestling show on our channel. Talk about what's happening with that and what could we expect soon.
Yeah, check every Wednesday night. Mostly me and Soda have the worst schedule on the planet, but we're on there talking wrestling. This Wednesday night we're going to do a fantasy draft. So we Soda and I and Ryan is as well. Pro wrestling fans. So we're going to do a fantasy draft of the 1992 WWF roster. So that's going to be our big one that we're pretty excited about. But yeah, if you want to catch us on Wednesdays, we talk everything old school wrestling, and then we talk a little AEW, WWE of the current stuff. And so yeah, we like to hit the wrestling part, and pretty soon we're going to start talking about some wrestlers in film to kind of tie it back into the Schmoedown a little bit. But if you like pro wrestling, you know where to find us on Wednesdays on this channel.
All right. And Dan, what are you up to these days, my friend?
Not much. Just actually I'm kind of trying to figure out like a regular schedule so I can start thinking up kind of some sort of show to throw on our channel, and can't wait to figure out what we're doing next season and all of that. So we're working on things behind the scenes mostly, but you can find me in our Facebook group, on most of the Schmoedown places, and also on Twitter at Avengers_SOTN. That's Avengers with an EH flourish, Canadian, A.
All right. And again, you can find me on here from time to time, and you can also find me at SOS. So speaking of Schmoedown, on the JCast network every 2:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern time, where I mostly produce, but sometimes my ugly bug is on cam arguing with Jay Wade, so do not miss that out. And also, we do want to also thank everyone that's supporting us. We're almost at 250 subscribers. Let's make it to 250 very soon. So there's a lot of changes that's going to happen next year. There's a lot of things we're planning. So again, thank you very much for your support and making this happen. So again, thank you, and everyone have a nice night. Bye-bye.
Right.